I do not speak in metaphor. I do not deal in wishful thinking or half-hearted hope. I am telling you with every fiber of truth that the very mind you possess this moment holds within it the infinite power to reshape your entire world. Your current circumstances are not permanent. They are not fixed. They are fluid, moldable, and entirely subject to the images and assumptions you dare to impress upon the inner man. For man is all imagination, and God is man, and exists in us, and we in him. If you are waiting for something outside of you to change, so that you may feel different, you are living in reverse. Life is not lived from the outside in. It is lived from the inside out. Consciousness is the only reality. The world reflects not what you want, but what you are. And what you are is nothing but the sum total of the thoughts you continually think and the states you occupy. All transformation begins with a shift in consciousness, and the truth is simple. You become what you believe yourself to be. You cannot rise higher than your assumptions. Now let me show you something that will forever shift the way you view life. Close your eyes, mentally, if not physically, and bring to mind the thing you desire most. A home, a fortune, a partner, radiant health, purpose, joy. Whatever it is, you must now claim it. Not wish for it, not beg the heavens to grant it, but assume it as your present reality. The assumption, though false to the senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And here is the key. You must dwell in the end, not visit it occasionally, not test it as though you are unsure, but move into it as a tenant moves into a new home. Feel the furniture, touch the walls, smell the air of your fulfilled dream. You must learn to feel the reality of the unseen, for feeling is the secret. Feeling is the bridge between the inner world and the outer, and the law is always working. It does not rest. The universe listens, but it does not hear words. It hears frequency, it hears energy, and it responds with precision. When you say to yourself, I am wealthy, but inwardly feel lack, the law responds not to your words, but to your feeling. And so, you must marry the thought with the feeling. Thought alone is not enough. You must feel your way into the state desired. Think of your imagination as the womb of reality. What you conceive within, in time, will be born without. Do not concern yourself with the how. The mechanism is not your responsibility. The seed does not concern itself with the mechanics of the soil. It simply knows it must germinate. Likewise, your only task is to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. This is not delusion. This is the very key Jesus demonstrated when he said, whatsoever you ask for when you pray, believe that you have received it, and it shall be yours. Not shall be in time, but already is. Believe you have received it. Let me be clear. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. The subconscious mind accepts as truth that which you feel to be true. And so, night after night, before you fall asleep, revise your day. Do not drift into sleep thinking idle thoughts. Use this sacred moment to impress upon your subconscious the image of your fulfilled desire. See it, hear it, touch it in your imagination until it feels natural. This is the key. It must feel natural. The mind is always creating, even in your ignorance. Every idle word, every flippant statement, every grumble of discontent is a command issued to the subconscious. You must discipline your inner conversations. Talk to yourself as one who already possesses that which he seeks. The world is a mirror, endlessly reflecting your internal states. You cannot escape your own assumptions. Change your assumption, and the world changes accordingly. Now let me tell you something that most overlook. Doubt is also an assumption. Fear is a form of belief. And when you entertain these inner states, you are manifesting from them. The law is impersonal. It does not judge. It simply reflects. That is why I say to you, take no thought for the morrow. Do not project anxiety into tomorrow. Assume that tomorrow will bring with it the evidence of today's inner claim. Live as though it were impossible to fail. The world cannot resist a man who persistently assumes success. To activate your mind to manifest anything, You must first stop identifying with your past. Your past is dead. It lives only in memory. Do not let it define you. You are not your failures. You are not your traumas. You are not your circumstances. You are awareness itself. You are the operant power. And once you awaken to this, you are free. For if you can assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will be led across a bridge of incidents to its realization. Your mind is the workshop of God. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the very substance of reality. Everything man has created began as a thought, a desire, a vision unseen by the world. And so it is with you. You must see it within before you can ever see it without. You must know it is done. When you imagine something and then feel the thrill of its completion, you set into motion unseen forces that must bring it to pass. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. This is scripture rightly interpreted. When the Bible speaks of faith, it speaks of a psychological certainty. It means loyalty to the unseen reality. It means walking by faith, not by sight. You must become so anchored in your inner vision that the facts of the world cannot sway you. Let the world say you are mad. It does not matter. The world always mocks the visionary until the vision becomes fact. Then they call him genius. When you activate your mind through imagination, you become one with the divine creative power. There is no power outside of consciousness. What you experience as your world is nothing more than the outpicturing of your inner conversations and sustained moods. Change the conversation, and the world reshapes itself. Speak to yourself with love, with confidence, with bold declarations. Tell yourself, I am chosen. I am blessed. I am wealthy. I am in perfect health. And do not say it timidly. Say it as though the universe must obey, because it must. Every moment you choose to accept only that which aligns with your desire, you are creating from your higher self. And when your senses contradict your assumption, you persist. This is the great secret. Persistence in the assumption of the wish fulfilled is the way to its manifestation. Do not be discouraged by time. Time is the delay between the planting and the harvest. The seed knows it must become the tree. So must you know that your assumption must become fact. Your mind, once awakened, is a tool of infinite power. It can build empires, heal the sick, open doors that were never meant to open, but only if you believe. You cannot half believe and expect full results. You must go all in. You must be willing to let go of appearances, let go of logic, and let go of needing to know how. This is the trust that brings about miracles. The mind is activated by conviction, and conviction comes from the repetition of the desired state until it becomes familiar. Sleep tonight in the feeling that your dream is already yours. Live tomorrow as though you have already received the answer. React not to appearances, but to the vision held within. If you do this, life must conform. The law has no choice. It does not argue. It does not reason. It simply reflects. You are not here to chase things. You are here to summon them. Through feeling, through vision, through the power of assumption, you call into your experience all that you desire. And what you desire is already yours, waiting only for you to claim it. There is no delay except the one you accept. There is no limitation except the one you believe in. The prison doors are open, but you must walk out. No one will do it for you. The power is in your hands. When you activate your mind, you awaken the God within. And the God within is not limited. The God within speaks and it is done. You are that God, dreaming the dream of life. And when you finally take hold of your imagination and direct it with purpose, you will find that the entire universe conspires to fulfill your assumption. So I say to you now, activate your mind, not later. Now, assume the highest version of yourself. Walk in the light of your fulfilled desire. Talk to yourself as the one who already has it. Feel the joy, the peace, the gratitude as though your dream were reality. And do not waver. Though the world may remain the same for a time, it must bend. The world always yields to the persistent inner state. You were never meant to beg. You were meant to create. You were never meant to struggle. You were meant to assume. You are the artist, the architect, the author of your life. Write it with conviction. Speak it with authority. Imagine it with clarity. And feel it with joy. Do this, and I promise you what is now invisible will become visible. What is now distant will draw near, and what is now a dream will become your living reality. I have spoken not from theory, but from experience. What I have lived, you too shall live if you dare to believe. You hold the key, use it, unlock the door, and walk boldly into the life that has been waiting for you all along. Let us go even deeper now. For the creative act is not a moment, it is a state, an identity. You are not a person who does imagination. You are imagination itself. You are not someone who occasionally manifests. You are manifestation, walking, breathing, and thinking. The degree to which you realize this determines how quickly and precisely your world responds to you. Once you truly grasp that your mind is the projector and the world the screen, you stop fussing with appearances. You go straight to the film reel. Your thoughts, your assumptions, your inner speech. You change the reel, and the scene must change. It is inevitable. This is the divine mystery. The world is yourself pushed out. Every person you meet, every circumstance you face, every so-called coincidence. It all arises from the patterns of thought you have entertained, accepted, and sustained. So if you wish to experience new relationships, new opportunities, new wealth, you must first form a new inner self. You must see yourself differently, speak differently, respond to life as the one who already is that which he desires to be. If you continue to think from the state of lack, you continue to call it into being, not because you are cursed, but because you are creating. Now hear me clearly. You cannot activate your mind by force or fear. You must do it through rest, through ease, through surrender. This is not about effort in the conventional sense. It is about assuming with such calm conviction that all opposition fades. You move through the world lightly, because you know the work is already done in the unseen. You do not argue with the senses. You do not battle circumstances. You return again and again to the vision held in your imagination, and you live there. You dwell there. You make it your home. And what is true in the inner world must become true in the outer. You must train yourself to feel the joy before the event, to feel the satisfaction before the result, to feel the abundance before the money appears. This is the essence of divine creation. This is what separates the awakened man from the sleeping one. The sleeping man reacts. The awakened man creates. He walks by inner law, not outer facts. He knows the law of consciousness and uses it deliberately. He chooses his thoughts. He selects his emotions. He accepts nothing unless it agrees with the vision he holds. This is the kind of mental discipline that leads to miracles. Do not underestimate the power of repetition. The subconscious accepts through repetition, through feeling, through persistence. If you say, I am wealthy, but feel otherwise, keep saying it, but not with desperation, with certainty. Let the phrase become a rhythm, a melody, until it takes root in the deeper self. And then when you least expect it, the outer world will bend. A phone call, a chance meeting, a new idea, all orchestrated by the unseen hand of your own imagination, responding to the new signal you broadcast. You are broadcasting all the time. The question is not whether you are creating. It's what you're creating. Every thought charged with emotion becomes a decree. Every fear entertained becomes a prayer answered. So why not reverse the pattern? Why not begin to choose deliberately, joyfully, courageously? Instead of expecting problems, expect favor. Instead of anticipating delay, anticipate instant magic. Instead of rehearsing what you don't want, rehearse what you do until it feels so natural that anything else would feel strange.
Know this, once you assume a state and feel it real, the law begins to operate immediately. You may not see results that day or the next, but that means nothing. The seed is already planted. Do not dig it up with doubt. Do not cancel it with contradiction. Remain faithful. Remain still. The longer you persist in a state, the more natural it becomes. And when it becomes natural, it becomes inevitable. The power to manifest anything is not given to a chosen few. It is your birthright. It is not hidden. It is not reserved. It is here, waiting for your recognition. The moment you stop looking outside and turn within, you will feel it, like a quiet flame in the chest, a knowing, a calm certainty that it is done. That feeling, that sacred conviction, is worth more than all the strategies in the world. For once you feel it, the outer must follow. The outer is never first. Never. It is always the echo.
The cause is consciousness. If you doubt, do not be discouraged. Doubt is simply a suggestion, not a fact. You have the power to reject it, to replace it, to overwrite it. Do not argue with doubt. Transcend it. How? By moving into the state of the answered prayer. Feel now what it would feel like if the thing you desire were already yours. Do not just think it. Feel it. This is your divine faculty. This is how you activate the mind, not through worry, not through effort, but through bold inner acceptance. You are not here to live by circumstance. You are here to command circumstance, through feeling, through imagination, through the holy act of assumption. And the more you practice this divine art, the more natural it becomes. What once felt like fantasy becomes your norm, and what once felt distant becomes your everyday. You no longer hope, you know. You no longer wait, you dwell. And in this dwelling, all things are drawn to you, because they must be, because the law has no choice, because you have claimed it. Do not mistake silence for absence. The moment you change your inner state, your world begins rearranging itself. It may do so quietly. It may take paths you do not expect, but it will happen. You must be still and trust the law. You must return again and again to the end, the fulfilled desire. That is where your power lies. That is where your creation begins. That is how you activate your mind to manifest anything, by thinking from the end, not of the end. The feeling you cultivate is the magnet, and everything you want is already drawn to you, the moment you match its frequency. But you must hold that frequency, not once, not occasionally, consistently, faithfully, joyfully, as if it were your favorite song on repeat. That is how the subconscious accepts. That is how manifestation becomes your daily rhythm. You speak it, you feel it, you live it, and the world reflects it. When the old self rises, when fear knocks, when logic tries to explain why it can't happen, you smile. You do not resist. You return to your vision. You remind yourself who you really are, the operant power, the author, the one who commands reality with imagination. You say, thank you, but that is no longer my truth. And you step back into your new self, into your chosen state. That is how you walk by faith. That is how you reign over the outer world, not by force, but by assumption. So if tonight you wish to change your life, do not change the outer, change the inner. Go into imagination. Create a scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Enter that scene with feeling. Make it vivid. Make it real. Hear the sounds. Feel the textures. Sense the joy. And do this until it begins to feel natural. And once it does, once you accept it as real, it must express itself. Not by your might, but by the law. Not by effort, but by alignment. Not by struggle, but by faith. Let this become your practice, morning and night, in silence and stillness, until it becomes your second nature, until you no longer react to the world, but create from within, until you no longer seek evidence, but become evidence, until you no longer need permission, because you know you are the permission. The truth is simple. You are already everything you wish to be. You need only to claim it, boldly, persistently, joyfully. The world is waiting for your signal, and the moment you send it, clearly, confidently, without contradiction, the doors open, not because you forced them, but because you finally remembered who you are, because you finally remembered that the outer world is simply clay in the hands of your inner vision. You remembered that the stories you tell yourself become the structures you live within, and now you tell a new story, one of certainty, one of abundance, one of infinite possibility. You do not question how the old dissolves. You simply persist in the new. You do not analyze the root, because you walk by assumption, not logic. You live as though it is already done, and that living is the prayer, the ritual, the alchemy. Your mind is a garden, and your dominant thoughts are the seeds. If you plant thoughts of lack, struggle, or fear, the weeds grow wild. But if you plant thoughts of wealth, love, and ease, your life becomes a blooming field of miracles. And this is not metaphor. It is the law. Imagination creates reality, not some imagination, not random imagination. Your imagination, your felt belief, your assumption. And to activate this mind is simply to turn your attention within, to impress the subconscious with that which you choose to be true. As you persist, the subconscious accepts, and once accepted, it begins to organize everything around you to match. It does not argue. It does not delay out of cruelty.
It waits only for your consistency. So many people give up too soon, not because the law failed, but because they wavered between old and new. One day they believe, the next they doubt. One moment they feel it real, the next they fear it won't work. And this is the only thing that breaks the bridge of incidents. This is the only thing that delays the delivery. But you will not waver, because now you know. And once you know, you cannot unknow. The truth has touched you, and it will not let go. From this day on, you move differently. You speak as if it is done. You think from the result. You sleep in the wish fulfilled. You begin and end your day as the version of you who already has it. Not because you're pretending, not because you're playing games, but because you're creating deliberately, lawfully, eternally. If only you understood how powerful you are. If only you could see how every single shift in your inner dialogue creates ripples that move mountains. If only you knew how close you already are to everything you've ever wanted. There is no distance. There is only a veil of belief. And the moment you change belief, you tear the veil. And behind it, the life you've longed for, the love you've dreamed of, the freedom you thought was far away, already here. And so I invite you, no, I urge you, begin tonight. Close your eyes and feel it real. Whatever you desire, imagine what implies it is already yours. Don't force, don't strain. Just allow the scene to unfold. Make it lovely. Make it natural. Make it feel like home. And then dwell there. Visit it again and again. Let it become more real than your current world. And as you do, you will notice something strange. The outer begins to shift. People change. Events align. Paths open. And you smile, not in surprise, but in recognition. For you remember, you created this. You will no longer wonder if it works. You will no longer seek signs. You are the sign. You will walk through life as the operant power, silently radiating the vibration of your chosen state. And people will ask you, how are you so lucky? How do things always work out for you? And you will know the answer is not luck, but law, not chance, but choice. You have activated your mind. You have taken dominion over your inner world. And in doing so, the outer bends in joyful submission. The old you, the reactive you, the doubting you, the waiting you, is gone, buried in the silence of assumption. And in its place a new self is born. One who does not hope, but knows. One who does not seek, but allows. One who does not plead, but thanks. This is the self that creates worlds. This is the self that walks in constant awareness of truth. And truth is simple. You are the operant power. What you assume to be true, with feeling and persistence, must harden into fact. It does not matter if others see it yet. It does not matter if the world agrees. You are not asking for permission. You are not waiting for proof. You are giving proof to the world, to yourself, to the law. And the law responds, always, exactly, impartially, unfailingly. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances are at the mercy of you. You do not need to convince others. You do not need to post your desires online, seeking validation. You need only to dwell in the end. That is the secret. That is the method. That is the key. And once you make the end your home, everything else falls into place. For you are no longer pulled by appearances. You are guided by vision. You are led by knowing. You are moved by the deeper voice within, the voice that whispers, it is done. And when you wake in the morning, you do not look around to decide how to feel. You decide how to feel, and the world mirrors it back. You do not ask, what will today bring me? You declare, this is what I bring to today. That is the power of an activated mind. That is the life of the conscious creator. And it is your destiny, not someday, not after struggle, but now, the moment you claim it. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be enlightened. You need only to be consistent. Inner certainty, repeated, becomes external law. Thought, saturated with belief, becomes matter. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for conditions to change. Step into the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. Speak as them, walk as them, breathe as them. This is not make-believe. This is creation. This is manifestation. This is divine law, in motion. If ever you fall back, if fear creeps in, if doubt arises, do not panic. Simply return, gently, quietly, consistently. The truth never left you. You merely stepped away from it. But now you return, like the prodigal son, to the house of fulfillment. And the moment you return, the feast begins. For the universe does not punish. It reflects. It does not delay. It responds. It does not judge. It accepts. You are always welcome back to the state of your choosing. You are always one assumption away from a new reality. You need no tool but imagination. You need no ritual but feeling. You need no proof but your own inner conviction. This is the way. This is the path. This is the divine technology built into your very being. Use it, trust it, live it, and everything you've ever longed for will rush to meet you, not as reward, but as reflection, not as something granted, but something assumed. And in this sacred knowing, you are free. This freedom is not loud. It does not shout from rooftops. It walks quietly, gently, confidently, because it knows it does not need to prove anything. The man who knows he is rich does not talk about money. The woman who knows she is loved does not ask for reassurance. They live from the end. They do not project their desires into the future. They embody them now. That is the greatest power of the activated mind. It does not seek the thing. It becomes. It you no longer strive. You no longer wish. You no longer hope. You move in calm, deliberate conviction. Because once you truly accept a thing is done, the desire for it dissolves. Not because you've lost interest, but because you've taken possession. And when you've taken possession in consciousness, you know it must appear in form. This is the law. It is not complicated. It is not reserved for the few. It is not mystical. It is mechanical. Assumption, sustained with feeling, must be made manifest. You are now entering a state of divine authorship. You do not chase. You write. You do not ask. You declare. You are no longer the character, tossed about by plot, twists. You are the author, writing the next chapter before it happens. And you do this not through effort, but through stillness, through imagination, through the sacred repetition of inner vision. Others may say you're delusional, that you're ignoring reality. Let them. You are not here to defend your vision. You are here to live it.
For what is reality, if not a mirror? A reflection of the dominant assumptions you hold inside. If the mirror shows a face you do not like, you do not scold the mirror. You change your expression. Likewise, when the world shows something unwanted, you do not react. You return within and reimagine. You know that the only creative act is assumption. Everything else is echo. And so day by day you activate deeper levels of your mind, not by force, but by faith. You do not beg your subconscious. You inform it. You do not negotiate with it. You impress it. And the subconscious, like fertile soil, accepts your dominant impression without question. If you impress lack, it gives you lack. If you impress wealth, it gives you wealth. It does not care what is true. It only cares what is believed. This is why belief is the greatest currency in the universe. Not action, not talent, not education. Belief. You could do all the right things and still fail if your inner state says, I am not enough. And you could do very little and still succeed if your inner state says, I am chosen. For the outer follows the inner with unwavering obedience. It has no will of its own. It bends to the image impressed upon it. And when you truly understand this, you no longer fear the world. You master it. You are not a product of your past. You are a product of your assumptions. Your past is only alive to the degree you identify with it. Change your self-concept, and your past dissolves. The identity you hold is the filter through which all life passes. Change that filter, and you change the world you see. If you believe you are unlucky, life will confirm it. If you believe you are blessed, life will rearrange to prove it true. This is why I say, you do not need to wait. The shift can happen in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. If you believe a miracle takes 30 days, it will. If you believe it happens instantly, it can. You are not bound by time. You are bound only by belief. So why not choose the highest? Why not declare, it is done, and feel the thrill of knowing that life has already conspired in your favor? You do not need to see how. You do not need to figure it out. That is not your role. Your role is the assumption, the method, the persistence. The rest belongs to the bridge of incidents, those invisible chains of events that the universe will now organize to bring your assumption to life. And that bridge will not always look the way you expect. It may disguise itself as delay, as loss, as redirection. But do not be fooled. The bridge is perfect. It is leading you precisely where you intend to go. When you feel discouraged, return to the vision. When doubt whispers, what if it doesn't work? Answer silently, but what if it already has? When fear says, "You're not ready," remind it, "I've already become." This is how you walk by faith, not by sight. This is how you hold the state, even when the senses scream otherwise. And as you hold it, as you dwell in the end, you will see the world shift, not slowly but suddenly, not gradually, but completely. People will return into your life, now treating you as the version you assumed. Money will show up in ways you couldn't predict. Opportunities will appear that feel too perfect to be coincidence. But you will not be surprised. You will smile calmly because you knew. You knew all along. You knew from the moment you said, "I will activate my mind." You knew the moment you claimed the new state, that the old had no choice but to fall away. In this knowing, you rest, not in passivity, but in power. You take inspired action, yes, but from a place of fulfillment, not desperation. Your words become clear, calm, confident, because they are not seeking, they are confirming. Your movements become intentional, not rushed, but regal. You do not chase, you magnetize. You do not hustle, you attract. You do not beg, you bless. This is the life of the operant power. This is the life of the awakened soul, and it is yours, right now. Not after more books, not after more proof, not after more waiting, but now in the stillness of this moment. The switch is inside you, the choice is internal, and the result is inevitable. You have stepped into the authority of your divine self. You are no longer reacting to life. You are giving life direction, and life obeys because it must, because it is your servant, not your master. Keep going. Keep imagining. Keep dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled. The more you return to it, the more natural it becomes. And one day you will forget to try, because you'll simply be. The state will no longer feel foreign. It will be your dwelling place. And from this place, manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you did something, but because you became someone. And that someone, the one who lives in fulfillment, is who you were always meant to be. So I leave you with this. You do not need to become anything. You only need to remember who you are. The operant power, the imaginer, the creator clothed in flesh. The world is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is a seed. And now that your mind is activated, you will plant only what you wish to harvest. You will not beg for miracles. You will embody them. You will not hope for change. You will assume the change and watch the world bow in obedience to your inner command. Dare to believe in the unseen. Dare to feel it real. Dare to walk as if your every desire is already yours, because it is. And let the old reality crumble. Let the doubts die. Let the fear fall away. You have entered a new state of being, a new identity, a new world. And from this moment forward, everything must change to reflect the self you have chosen to be. It is done. Now walk in it, live in it, breathe in it, and watch the impossible bow to the one truth that sets you free. Your imagination is God in action.
Everything in this world begins in the imagination. What you call reality is nothing more than the shadow cast by your inner assumptions. To act as if you are going to have everything and then watch it appear, this is not magic, this is law, the law of assumption. The eternal truth that what you assume to be true, whether good, bad, small, or grand, must in time harden into fact. You do not need to struggle for what is already yours by divine right. You only need to assume it is so, and live as though it were already done. Do not wait for the world to confirm your vision. The world reflects, it does not initiate. Act as if you're going to have everything. Not with arrogance, but with the deep peace that comes from knowing who you really are. You are not a beggar in this world. You are not waiting on fate or fortune. You are not at the mercy of events. You are the operant power. You are the cause of what you see, not the effect. And when you accept this responsibility, when you dare to believe that your imagination creates your reality, then you are free. Now let us understand something vital. It is not enough to want. You must live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the secret. That is the great mystery, hidden in plain sight. Most people want, but they do not feel that they already have. They hope, but they do not assume. They desire, but they do not believe. And yet it is belief, pure, persistent, embodied belief, that makes all things possible. So I ask you now,
What would you do if you knew everything you desired was on its way? How would you walk? How would you breathe? What would your tone of voice be? What thoughts would you entertain? What habits would you leave behind? Not because you're trying to be better, but because they no longer fit the version of you that already has everything. If you knew the end was certain, would you still doubt? Would you still speak of lack? Would you still compare yourself to others? You see, the game changes when you know that the outcome is fixed by your assumption. Not a blind assumption, but an embodied one. One that saturates your inner conversations, that lives in your emotional tone, that seeps into your dreams. To act as if is to live in the consciousness of already being the person you want to become. It is not pretending. Pretending is shallow. Pretending knows it's not real. Acting as if means embodying the truth of your desire as though it were a memory. You don't struggle to remember something that happened yesterday. You simply recall it. So too must you recall the feeling of the thing desired, as though it already happened. Suppose you want wealth. Then do not ask for wealth. Do not beg for wealth. Do not even wait for wealth. Assume wealth. Walk in it. Rest in it. Let the world catch up to your inner state. Let the bank account reflect what your imagination already knows. Your imagination is the womb of creation. It is the divine faculty through which God expresses in man. And when you dwell in the end, meaning when you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, you have set the process of creation in motion. It is not your job to know how it will come. That's where so many lose their power. They try to force the means, to manipulate the process. But I tell you, the means will come of their own accord. Your only task is to live in the end. When you act as if you're going to have everything, and you truly feel that reality within you, the bridge of incidents will unfold naturally. You'll meet someone. An idea will come. A door will open. But none of these things are the cause. They are only the result. The world is your mirror, and the mirror cannot smile first. You must smile first, and then the reflection appears. In the same way, the world cannot bring you your desire until you first bring it into your inner world. That is the law. That is the secret behind every miracle, every transformation, every fulfilled dream. Now listen closely. You must assume persistently, not just once in a meditation, not just while visualizing, but throughout your day, in the midst of conversations, as you walk down the street, as you lie in bed at night. You must saturate yourself with the feeling that it is already done. You must carry yourself like one who is already crowned with victory, and not for show, but for real. For you know something the world does not. You know that imagination creates reality. This is not fantasy. This is the creative act. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to impress upon your subconscious mind a new pattern. And the subconscious does not argue. It does not analyze. It accepts whatever you persistently feel as true. Whether it's fear or faith, lack or abundance, sickness or health, the subconscious molds your world in its image. Therefore, become aware of what you're feeding your subconscious. Become vigilant of your inner speech. For what you whisper to yourself day after day becomes the script of your life. Do not say, "I'll never have enough." Say, "Everything I need is already mine." Do not say, "Why does it take so long?" Say, "It's already done." Replace doubt with knowing. Replace effort with assumption. Replace striving with trust. You don't need to push the river. You only need to align with its current. And that current is your belief. What you believe about yourself is what you will live. And belief is nothing more than an assumption repeated so often. It becomes second nature. When you act as if you're going to have everything, you give yourself permission to live from the end. And that is the true mark of power. Not force, but faith. Not trying but knowing. Not hoping, but assuming. And as you persist, your outer world rearranges itself to reflect your new state of being. It may not happen overnight, but it must happen. For the law cannot be broken. According to your faith be it unto you. Faith is not blind. It is imaginative. It sees what the eyes cannot. It touches what the hands have not yet held. And it walks boldly, because it knows who the author of life really is. You are not separate from the source of your desires. You are not a servant begging for crumbs. You are a son, a daughter of the Most High. The kingdom is within you. And when you claim that kingdom, when you assume its riches, its beauty, its power,
You call it forth into the visible world. Now let us return again to the principle. If you act as if you're going to have everything, you must be willing to let go of the version of yourself that doubts, the version that fears, the version that compares and complains and waits for signs. You must leave it behind like an old garment, and put on the new man, the man who already has, the woman who already is. This is the great act of imagination, to clothe yourself in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. And you must do this without conditions. Not I'll believe it when I see it, but I believe it therefore I'll see it. Not I'll feel abundant when my account is full, but I feel abundant therefore my account will reflect it. You reverse the order of cause and effect. You become the cause and the world responds. There is no power outside of your consciousness. There is no other creator. Your world is yourself pushed out. Therefore if you change your assumption, you change your world. It's that simple. And yet it requires courage. Courage to believe when the evidence says otherwise. Courage to persist when nothing seems to change. Courage to declare, it is done, and then rest in that knowing. The moment you act as if it is done, you shift your timeline. You align with the version of you who has it all. And from that moment on, everything conspires to bring you face to face with your assumption. People will change. Circumstances will shift. Paths will open. But do not look to the world for confirmation. Look within. That is where the change began. And that is where it is sustained. You are always acting on some assumption. The question is, what are you assuming now? Are you assuming things are hard? Are you assuming nothing ever works out for you? Then that too shall appear. But if you act as if you are loved, successful, wealthy, inspired, if you feel that as your reality, regardless of what the eyes see, then that too must come to pass. Do not wait for proof. Be the proof. Do not wait for change. Be the change. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Claim what is already yours in imagination. That is where all creation begins. So tonight as you lie in bed, do not drift into sleep thinking of what is missing. Think only of what is already yours. Fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let your last thought be one of victory. Let your dream be colored with the tones of fulfillment. For as you sleep, the seed you have planted in imagination will take root, and in time it will bloom. You do not need to know how. You only need to know that it is done, and walk in that knowing. Talk in that knowing. Think from that knowing. And the world, like a faithful servant, will reflect your assumption back to you in ways you could not have planned. Act as if you're going to have everything, not because you're trying to trick the universe, but because you understand the law. Because you know that what you assume to be true becomes your experience, and because you trust the divine power within you to bring all things to pass. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. This is your inheritance. Claim it boldly. Live from it daily. And watch, just watch, how everything you ever desired begins to appear, not as a miracle but as the natural consequence of your inner state. Now go into the silence, and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do it with love. Do it with joy. Do it with certainty. And watch how the universe rearranges itself in your favor. It always has. It always will. Do not concern yourself with what the world says is realistic. Realism is the creed of those who have forgotten the creative power within. It is not your job to adjust your desire to fit the facts. It is your job to assume the facts will conform to your desire. And they will. For the truth is this. What you accept as true within you becomes true outside of you. Not through struggle. Not through force. But through natural, inevitable divine law. If you persist in the feeling of already being, already having, already living in your desired state, then the outer world must follow. It is not optional. It is not a matter of luck or fate. It is the result of the only true cause, your own consciousness. Therefore take your attention off what you see and place it upon what you know to be true within. The eyes of the flesh may lie, but the eyes of imagination never do. Imagination shows you not what is but what can be, and more importantly what must be when you accept it as so. So many say I'm trying, and yet they do not see. But trying is not assuming. Trying still holds doubt. Trying is effort, and effort implies separation. But assumption is still. Assumption is faith. Assumption is knowing. And it is only when you enter that state of knowing, that inner peace, that confident expectancy, that the world bends in your favor. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to master every thought. You simply have to return, again and again, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When fear knocks, Return to the feeling. When delay appears, return to the feeling. When doubt arises, return again. Persist. That is the only requirement. Persistence in the assumption. And if you do that, the bridge of incidents will unfold in ways you could never script. The right people will show up. The timing will align. What once seemed impossible will become inevitable. Now let me tell you something most overlooked. The assumption must feel natural. It must become so familiar, so habitual that anything less feels strange. And that comes through repetition, through inner rehearsal, through soaking yourself in the vision of already having. You walk in it, you breathe it, you dream in it, you speak from it. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Instead, you rest in the peace that it already has. This is how the great ones have always lived. They saw what others could not see. They believed in what was invisible. And they acted not from hope but from assumption. And so their worlds transformed to match. You too must do the same. You must be the one who dares to believe even when others call it foolish. You must be the one who holds the end in mind when the means look missing. Because the one who lives in the end has already won. And life must mirror that inner victory. Your power is in your decision to assume. And assumption is a quiet act. It doesn't shout. It doesn't plead. It simply accepts. And what it accepts, it receives. The mind may doubt. The senses may contradict. But you stay in the state. That is your work. You may go to your job, speak with friends, handle daily duties. But all the while the inner state remains. You carry the knowing like a secret treasure in your chest. And that knowing radiates through everything you do. People will sense something different. They may not know what it is, but they'll feel it. Because when you walk in assumption, your world becomes magnetic. What you are within calls to itself without, even if nothing appears to change for a time. Do not waver. You are not looking for signs, you are resting in fulfillment. The seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. But beneath the soil life is stirring. So too your desire is germinating in the unseen. Keep it alive through your assumption. Keep it watered with your belief. And when the moment is ripe, the harvest will come. Every great manifestation is born this way. It is not sudden. It is the result of an inner reality that has been assumed again and again until it becomes natural. So do not be discouraged by appearances. Appearances are the last to change. The root must be formed before the fruit appears. The unseen must take shape before the visible can reflect it. Your only task is to remain faithful to the vision, to live in it, to breathe it in. And when others ask how you can be so calm, so confident, so certain, you will smile, for you know something they do not. You know that reality follows imagination. You know that consciousness is the only cause. You know that acting as if is not deception but alignment with the greater truth. You will find that as you persist in the feeling, your desires no longer feel far away. They begin to feel inevitable. They begin to feel like memories from the future. You no longer chase. You no longer plead. You simply walk in the state of already having. And everything rearranges to meet you there. You may wonder, is it really that simple? Yes, it is. But simplicity is often overlooked. Because the mind craves complexity. The mind wants to do, to figure out, to control. But the creative act is one of surrender, of assuming the end and trusting the process. And the process is governed by law. What you assume must be, and the world will not disappoint. So act as if you're going to have everything. And do it with joy. Do it with gratitude. Do it with faith that what you are seeing within is more real than what you see without. The world is not your master. It is your mirror. It reflects always the contents of your consciousness. And as you persist in the assumption that you are already in possession of your desire, the mirror must reflect that image. You will see evidence, little things at first, synchronicities, ideas, changes in people's behavior, doors opening where before there were only walls. But don't cling to the signs. Let them come and go. Stay in the state. Stay in the knowing. Stay in the feeling that it is already done. You don't have to convince anyone else. This is your inner world, your secret place. The law does not require permission or approval. It requires only your assumption. So assume boldly. Assume joyfully. Assume quietly. And as you do, you'll discover something wonderful. That the universe is far more responsive than you ever imagined. That life is not against you, but is simply reflecting your own inner dialogue. Change that dialogue, and you change your world. Now is the time to let go of waiting. Waiting keeps you in the state of lack. Begin to live from the end now. Let every choice,
Every action, every thought, be informed by the version of you who already has it all. And from this place you will move differently. You will speak differently. You will make decisions not from fear but from abundance. And that shift will change everything. Your assumption must become your identity. Not a mask. Not a performance but a true embodiment of the state desired. You must become the one who already has. You must fuse with that self in imagination. Until there is no separation between who you are and who you want to be. And when you do that, reality has no choice. It will conform.
Persist. Continue. Assume again. Let the inner vision become more real than the outer facts. Let the feeling of having be the atmosphere you live in. And in time, the outer world will catch up with your inner conviction. It must, for it is law. You are not asking for something to come to you. You are walking as though it already has. This is the divine secret. You are not the beggar at the gate. You are the one who holds the key. You need not plead, nor chase, nor strive. You need only assume. The assumption is the birth of the new reality. In that moment of true acceptance, of silent knowing, something shifts. Reality bends inward. The world starts to organize itself according to your belief. Not because it is impressed by your want, but because it must mirror your inner state. Watch how your speech changes when you truly believe you already have what you once longed for. No more asking, how will it come? No more entertaining doubts. Instead, your words reflect confidence. I already am. I already have. It is mine. And this shift in conversation, especially the silent conversation you hold with yourself, alters the vibration of your being. You are no longer resonating with lack, but with fulfillment. And fulfillment draws its own reflection. You walk differently when you feel rich. You look others in the eye differently when you feel chosen, successful, wanted, and whole. It's not arrogance. It's not delusion. It is the natural confidence that comes from knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly in your favor, and that knowing is your superpower. It magnetizes circumstances, opportunities, people. They come not because you chase, but because you attract. This is not philosophy, it is law. The law of assumption tells us that your outer world must reflect your inner convictions. It cannot do otherwise. If you dare to persist in the assumption that you are already the one you wish to be, the world will mirror that truth back to you, down to the finest detail. You will see your reflection in the events of the day, in the people you meet, in the unexpected turns of fortune. And none of it will surprise you, because deep down, you already knew it had to happen. You accepted it before it arrived. You may think, but I don't feel it all the time. That is all right. Return to the feeling, gently, quietly. Do not force it. Invite it. Let it wash over you, like warm light. The more you dwell in that state, the more natural it becomes, until one day, you'll realize that the feeling has taken root. It is now your default. You don't have to conjure it. It lives in you. And from that place, your life will begin to move in rhythm with your inner certainty. You must remember, there is no power outside of your consciousness. The world is not acting independently. It is only responding to the seed you plant within. So plant wisely. Plant with intention. Imagine with precision. And then assume the feeling of that fulfilled state, as if it were already yours. Because it is. In the mind of God, in the realm of the unseen, it is already complete. Your job is simply to bring it into visibility by assuming it so. The world cannot resist the energy of the one who knows. There is a calmness in that kind of certainty, a magnetic force. People sense it. They are drawn to it. Circumstances bend to it. And this is not something you create through effort. It is something you allow by surrendering to the feeling. Feel as though it is done, and it will be done. All things begin in imagination. It is the womb of reality, and what you continually dwell upon in imagination becomes clothed in fact. So stop waiting for the world to change and begin living as though it already has. Your assumptions harden into facts, not because you force them into existence, but because you live them internally long enough for them to externalize. You may be tempted to ask, but what if nothing happens? That question arises from doubt. Doubt is the thief. Doubt interrupts the flow of manifestation. But faith is the bridge. Faith walks forward with no visible proof, trusting that the invisible is more real than the visible. And faith always rewards itself. Act as if you're going to have everything, not because you're trying to fool the universe, but because you're aligning with the deepest truth of your being, that you are already whole, already powerful, already chosen, already loved, already abundant. And as you embody that truth, the world will conform. You don't need to explain this to anyone. Let your results speak for themselves. Let your life become the evidence of the unseen. Those who once doubted you will be the first to ask how you did it. And you will smile, for you will know it was not effort, not struggle, not pleading, but assumption. The only reason things remain unmanifested is because we continue to dwell in the state of not having. We think of the desire instead of from it, and so it remains at a distance. But when you shift, when you move into the state of already having, it rushes toward you. The outer cannot help but reflect the inner. That is the law. Even in the silence, something is happening. Even when it seems like nothing is moving, everything is moving. Reality is rearranging itself in the unseen to match your assumption. So be still, be faithful, and above all, be consistent. Do not dip in and out of belief. Let your inner world remain unwavering. Then watch as the outer begins to echo your inner truth. You are not here to earn your desires. You are here to accept them. Grace is not given to the worthy, it is given to the receptive. You are worthy because you exist. You are deserving because you imagine. And what you imagine, you become. So imagine wisely, assume lavishly, walk boldly, and know that as you act as if you're going to have everything, you are inviting the universe to do what it was always ready to do. Fulfill your every assumption. You see, life is not reacting to your effort, it is responding to your consciousness. It is not about how hard you work or how many hours you toil. It is about the story you silently tell yourself, the role you cast yourself in, the scene you repeat in the theater of your mind. That is the root. And from that root grows the fruit of your experience. So instead of working harder, assume more deeply. Instead of chasing outcomes, embody their essence. Feel now what you imagine you would feel then. And by doing so, you collapse time. You dissolve delay. You bring the future into the present. Everything that is to come is already within you in seed form. And the only condition for its flowering is your willingness to persist in the assumption that it already is. That is why I tell you, do not beg, do not hope, do not wish, assume. Live from the end, speak from the end, think from the end, and let your every gesture, your every step, reflect the inner assurance that you are already living the life you once longed for. If it is love you desire, assume you are already cherished. Feel what it is like to be seen, heard, adored. And do not look outside for confirmation. Let that feeling grow within. If it is wealth you seek, assume you are already prosperous. Feel the peace, the freedom, the security that comes from knowing you are always provided for. If it is health, assume you are already whole. Feel the strength, the ease, the vibrancy of a fully restored body. Whatever it is, embody it now. You do not wait for the world to give you permission. You give the world instruction through your inner state. The moment you act as if, you issue a command, and the world listens. It does not argue. It does not delay. It simply reflects. And the more real your assumption becomes, the more vivid your imagination, the faster it appears. This is not fantasy. It is fidelity to the unseen. Every great teacher has pointed to this truth in their own way. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. According to your faith, be it unto you. These are not poetic verses. They are blueprints for manifestation. They are the very mechanics of creation. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot dwell in doubt and expect fulfillment. You must choose the state you will live in and remain faithful to it. When you falter, and you will return to the feeling, do not criticize yourself. Do not condemn your humanity. Simply return, gently, persistently, as often as necessary, until the feeling becomes familiar, until it becomes your home. Then it will feel stranger to doubt than to believe. That is when manifestation accelerates. The world around you will begin to whisper confirmation, a word overheard, a sudden opportunity, a chance meeting.
These are not coincidences. They are echoes of your assumption. They are the first fruits. Do not ignore them. Do not dismiss them. Rejoice in them. They are signs of alignment. And if you remain steady, more will follow. Bigger, brighter, bolder. Until the life you once imagined is the life you are living. Acting as if is not pretending. It is not play acting. It is entering the state of consciousness that matches your desire. It is tuning yourself to the frequency of the thing wished for. You become a vibrational match to it, and it cannot help but find you. This is the divine mathematics. The spiritual law. Your inner speech becomes your outer world. Your assumptions become your evidence. And everything begins to happen, not by force, but by rightness. When you truly assume, there is no desperation. There is no neediness. There is only calm expectation, a quiet joy, a knowing smile, because you understand that the invisible always precedes the visible. You do not need to check for signs. You are the sign. Your state is the evidence, and the world is simply catching up to your vibration. Do not speak of what you lack. Do not rehearse the old story. Let it go. Burn it. Lay it to rest, and write a new one in the sanctuary of your mind. In this new story, you are powerful. You are radiant. You are adored. You are wealthy. You are free. Tell it to yourself every day, not with force but with love, until your inner world becomes so rich, so vivid, so saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, that reality must obey. People will wonder how you did it. They will not understand that the change occurred long before the evidence appeared. They will not see the countless inner rehearsals, the silent acts of assumption, the secret knowing you carried inside. But you will know. You will remember the moment you stopped hoping and started living as if. The moment you stopped chasing and started assuming. That was the moment everything turned. This world is not solid. It is malleable, responsive, alive. It listens to you, not your words but your state. It is not impressed by affirmations spoken from doubt. It is moved by the assumption felt as real. That is the real prayer. Not the words you speak, but the state you dwell in. Dwell in the state of answered prayer. Let that be your reality. And soon the world will respond with visible proof, not as a reward, but as a mirror. So I urge you, if you want to see everything appear, act as if, not for 5 minutes, not when it's convenient, but as a way of being. Let every thought, every movement, every breath, carry the tone of fulfillment. Walk through life as though it is done, as though every door is open, as though the heavens have already declared your victory. And they have. But you must declare it too, within. No one else can do this for you. No one else can imagine for you. No one else can assume your state. This is your work, and yet it is the most joyous work you will ever do. Because once you truly assume, the effort is over. The striving ends. You are no longer trying to make it happen. You are letting it unfold, and unfold it must. You are not the victim of fate. You are the author of destiny, and your pen is imagination. Your ink is feeling. Write a new chapter, one of triumph, of abundance, of love, and live as though that chapter has already been published in the book of life, because it has. In the unseen, it is finished. In the visible, it is unfolding, and you are the bridge between those two realms. So I leave you with this: do not wait to see it before you believe it. Believe it, and you will surely see it. Walk today in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, let your world conform to the boldness of your inner conviction. Let the unseen become your foundation. Let imagination be your compass, and feeling be your guide. There is no power outside of you that determines your fate. It is you, the operant power, the divine dreamer, who molds